Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, July 20th, 2019. This is episode 1610. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Capterra. Find the right tools to make an informed software decision for your business. Capterra is software selection simplified. Visit Capterra's free website at capterra.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got all that jazz at 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number if you want to call. I have lines open right now for you. If you have a question or a comment, a suggestion, you want to talk high tech, let's do it. We're all together now. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We have a website where I'll put everything we talk about. It's called techguylabs.com. techguylabs.com. And so that's a great place to go if you have any questions, or you heard something on the show and you said, oh, I gotta get that, or I want to know where that is and all that. techguylabs.com, and I encourage you to use that freely because there is no charge. It is absolutely there for you. 7 days a week, 24/7. Unlike me, I'm only here on the weekends. So, did you use that Face app? Boy, I was kind of amazed at the reaction to this app, which has been viral. It went several times before. It came out a few years ago. Face app. I'll tell you, maybe you don't know about it, but the youngs do, and I think a lot of the olds do too. It's kind of fun because you can take a picture of yourself, do a little selfie, and then modify it in various ways. You've probably seen the results of it. People are posting a picture of themselves as an old person. Mine is actually terrifying because I'm already kind of old, and then it really makes you old. If you're younger, it doesn't make you quite so old. It's interesting. It's artificial intelligence at work. It can also put makeup on you, switch genders, do all sorts of fun stuff. But there was a furor, an outcry. Even Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, tweeted, "Don't use this." The Democratic National Committee told 2020 candidates, "Don't use this. It's from Russia. It's from Russia." That's not strictly true. It's by a Russian fella who actually worked at Microsoft for many years. In fact, he got the idea for Face app when he was working in Redmond, Washington. You might have heard of it, a little state up there in the Northwest. He launched this when he was at Microsoft in January 2017. Yeah, it's been around for 1-2 years. I remember playing with it. The company's founder, Yaroslav Goncharov, I was probably a little surprised at this point. Now, yes, he's Russian, and I think he's in Russia now. The company that makes it is a Russian company. So now, you know how sensitive we are about Russia these days. So the fear is, and it even says this when you use the app, when you take a picture of yourself, it is then uploading it to FaceApp's servers. Now, they're pointing out that the servers actually aren't in Russia. They're Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud, which is what most apps use. So, but then there's also this issue in the terms of use that people read this and they say, you grant FaceApp, this is the terms of use, a perpetual, irrevocable, non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide, fully paid, transferable, sub-licensable license. That pretty much covers everything. To use, reproduce, modify, adapt, publish, translate, create derivative works from, distribute, publicly perform, and display your user content, i.e. your face, and any name, username, or likeness provided in connection with your user content in all media formats and channels now known or later developed without compensation to you. which, by the way, is very similar, almost identical to the terms the special release we made people sign when they came to the TV studio to watch us do the Screensavers show. I think we said, in all media here now known or ever to be invented, something like that. And it's just a very typical boilerplate CYA agreement, which you'll see all the time. It's a little lazy because it's just everything. You give us all rights and you'll never ask for it. We can do anything we want with it, period. But that is really common. And you might want to check other apps that have your photo information for similar language. Instagram for a while got in trouble because they said something similar. You should pay attention to it. I'm not saying you should ignore it. And I think in particular interest in it was the transferable sub-licensable license, which says essentially FaceApp can take your picture and sell it or license it or give it to anybody else they want. Period. But guess what? Does Facebook have pictures of you? Does Instagram have pictures of you? Does Twitter have pictures of you? Does any other app on your phone have pictures of you? Does your phone manufacturer and operating system developer have pictures of you, i.e. Google, Samsung, Apple? Do they have pictures? Well, yes. Apple made a big point when they introduced Touch ID, their fingerprint reader, and then later Face ID, that all of the data that you gave it for unlocking your phone was stored on device and never uploaded to Apple. That's pretty cool. Not typical at all. Because, and especially for something like this artificial intelligence transformation of your face. And by the way, it's very good. But what I love about the Furor, well, what I'd point out about the Furor is, well, yeah, but so do almost everything else does this. I mean, you've already done this 100 times for the last 10 years. 1,000 times for the last 10 years. Do you have a picture of yourself on your profile on Twitter? Do you have a picture of yourself on your profile on Facebook? Do you have a picture of yourself on your profile on Instagram? Okay, I rest my case. But I'm glad to see the Furor because it means people are starting to pay attention. And the problem with uploading face stuff is that you can't really easily change your face. It's worse with your fingerprint or your DNA. Those things are permanent. Even if somebody gets your social security number, that you can change. It's hard. You don't want to, but you could. But your face, no, that's your face. You can grow a mustache, maybe, or change your hair. But the fundamentals of face recognition don't change. And we're seeing widespread use of face recognition in ways that are a little bit disturbing. At concert venues, for instance, at the airport now, when you check in with Delta in many airports, they don't ask for an ID. They say, oh, no, we know you. See that camera? We know who you are. They're using data from the Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol. But then, again, remember, there's your DMV picture for your driver's license. That's being widely used by states. There's a company called Palantir. It's a private company, but Palantir takes things like your picture, your fingerprint, whatever information they can glean about you, your address, your phone number, your credit card numbers, your social security number, and, from different databases, mushes it all together and offers an interface for both law enforcement and private business to look you up. It's very valuable. I talked to somebody who worked for Interpol, the International Police Agency. He said, oh, yeah, we use this all the time. It's really great. Really handy. If we've got a suspect, all we need really is a picture of them. We can match it in the Palantir database and get everything that's known about that person from every possible source. So I think it's important to understand that. And I think that probably the horse has left the barn. There's not a whole lot at this point you can do about that because we've been giving this information up for some time. But I'm glad, thanks to FaceApp, that people are sitting up and going, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that the Democratic National Committee told 2020 candidates, don't use this. Then the Russians will have your picture. the Russians have their picture. They're on TV a lot. Don't use this. We wouldn't want the Russians to know what you look like. You're on. What? They're on TV. So I think the Russians probably can pick up those signals and probably have a database of all the 2020 candidates already. I feel like they might. There is this larger concern, which is a very legitimate concern, and everybody should be aware of. This larger concern about the fact that any app on your phone can be sending other information back. I love it. And iOS 13, the next version of the iPhone, Apple, which has always said, oh, that app is using your location in the background. Is that okay? Now shows you a map of the most 3 or 4 recent places that app knows about. That's pretty dramatic. That might be a good cause to say, yeah, turn that off or only let the app know where I am when I'm using the app. That's usually enough for a maps application or a weather application. I think it might be too late though. But it's I'm glad we're becoming aware of it. That's good. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number if you want to call. Are you worried about Face App? Are you worried about privacy? We can talk about ways to make yourself more private. Give us a ring. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Kim Scheffer, the star of our show.
No.
Taking your calls.
Hardly.
Kimmy, the unbreakable Kimmy Scheffer.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
I feel so bad for everybody across the country.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much everywhere, boiling up.
Oh, yeah.
So hot. It's
Not
64
so bad
degrees
here.
right now in Northern California, reaching a high of 74 later this afternoon.
I've been living in shorts and a tank top, and today I had to cover up a bit.
It's
it was
a
like
little
only
chilly.
59.
It's a little chilly, but it's like in the hundreds in much of the country.
Yeah.
With humidity through the roof, and I just feel so bad for everybody. Come move to Northern California.
No, don't. But also, that's why I live here. Is
Yeah.
I cannot deal with the humidity.
Yeah.
I'm not good with that.
We chose this area, I think, because a lot of it because of the climate. Mm-hmm. It's quite salubrious. Whatever that means.
About as good as it gets,
Yeah.
Some people don't like that because they say we don't have any seasons, but I'm fine with it.
We have seasons.
I don't like the extremes. I don't need 115,
We have seasons.
and I don't need minus
This is a season.
34.
We're in the summertime right
know,
now.
It's great.
It's pretty much the same as the wintertime, except there's no rain.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all you need.
Perfect.
So,
That's why we pay the price for it.
yeah, it is expensive to live here.
Yeah.
But you could thank the tech bros for that. Thank you, tech bros.
If I could marry a tech bro, I'd be fine.
Yeah, then you wouldn't mind.
Then I wouldn't
Then you
mind.
could afford the rent. We should all marry a tech bro.
Yes, we should.
You know what really bugs me? I don't mind the tech bros because a lot of them created startups that have added great value. And, a lot of these companies, Google and Apple, and they've changed the world and for the better.
In some ways, yes.
The tech bros I don't like are the guys who made millions of dollars on Bitcoin
Oh.
and think they're somehow special.
We don't even know who they
They're
are.
somehow special. Kind of, we do know who they
Yeah,
are.
we know who they
They're
are now.
special. How they have there's a Bitcoin palace in San Francisco. They're buying islands. The latest thing with Bitcoin, they want to take over Puerto Rico. These Bitcoin millionaires.
And they'll do it in cash. No, they'll do it in Bitcoin.
Well, the advantage of it is there's no income tax in Puerto Rico, so they're going to create a special city, a Bitcoin city. It's
Bitcoin
crazy.
commune.
Those are the bros I'm not crazy about. Those are the Fire Festival types.
Oh, God. What a mess.
Them I'm less interested in. The influencers.
Yeah.
Do you want to be an influencer? All you
No.
young people want to be influencers.
I'm not that young, though. No, I'm very happy that I don't stand in front of my phone with the duck face every day to get
Right.
my
They're the
selfie
ones
and
saying-
my outfit of the day. I'm just like, I'm so glad
They
I'm
don't care if
beyond that age.
Putin knows what they look like. I hope he does. I hope he knows exactly what I look like.
Exactly.
So who should I talk to on the phone?
Well, let's be the opposite of a young millennial and talk about walkie-talkies.
Walkie-talkies.
Bill in Wilmington, North Carolina wants to know if you know anything about the Zello app, walkie-talkie app on your phone.
I do. I know a little bit about that. Thank you, Kim Scheffer.
You're welcome.
Not a millennial.
Not a millennial. Well, missed
Yeah,
it by,
you
I
are.
think by a year.
You're a
I think
millennial.
I missed it by a year.
So you know what the definition is? Anybody Mark Zuckerberg's age or younger, apparently.
Okay, he's slightly younger than I am.
Yeah, see?
I
Perfect.
missed it by like a year.
Missed it by that
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
See, if you're my age, you know what that's a reference to. You don't.
It
Get
was in
smart.
some movie.
Get smart. Okay, Maxwell Smart. Never mind. Forget it, you young people. Bill in Wilmington. Hello, Bill. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo. Yes, I've got a question. I've just downloaded this Zello app.
Yeah, it's cool, huh?
And,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been told. It works like a walkie-talkie, which it does seem to do that.
Yes.
But then it got me wondering, well, exactly how does it work? Is it actually transmitting like the old walkie-talkies?
No.
I mean, I know
No. It's
Okay.
using internet. It's using the internet data. Just like so there really are three channels, I guess we should say, for communication on your cell phone. There's of course the phone network, which is kind of a distinct thing from the data network, at least was. That's slowly changing. There's this SMS, text messaging. That actually is a special protocol that rides on top of the phone network because it's that old, right? And then there's this third thing which every smartphone has, which is a data network. And when you see 2G, 3G, 4G, or LTE, soon 5G, those are all data networks, internet data networks. And a lot of stuff is running now off internet data networks. At home, it might be running off your Wi-Fi. That's more economical than using the bandwidth that your cell phone provider gives you, right? So Zello uses LTE if it's available, Wi-Fi if it's available. You have to keep the app on your phone, and you have to give the app permission to ping you. And, that's why it's not quite a walkie-talkie, because it's using the phone's notification system to let you know. Unless you have Zello open. If you keep it open all the time, then it would work just like a walkie-talkie. Apple has done something similar with its Apple Watch, although they just discontinued their walkie-talkie on the watch because of a privacy concern, which was that people could somehow use walkie-talkie to listen in on you because your watch has a microphone on it. And that walkie-talkie had a flaw. They're going to fix that, and they're going to put walkie-talkie back out. But for the rest of us, Zello's one of a number of push-to-talk devices that use your smartphone. They use your smartphone data if you're out and about. They use your Wi-Fi if you're home. And it's, I think it's kind of fun and handy. There are similar features. I like with many messaging apps, you can do something similar just by sending audio. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson coming up. That sound is Scott Wilkinson's theme song for reasons no one understands. Scott,
me included.
Me included. Scott is our home theater geek and a contributor to techhive.com. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you? Are you seeing any good movies lately?
Well, no, but I am going to this week. I'll report on it next week on the show. But this week I'm going down to Sony Pictures.
Yeah.
To see a movie on their new, what they call the Crystal LED or CLED movie screen. So it's like the Samsung Onyx, which is, I hesitate to call it a micro LED display, but it's what we might call a mini LED display. It uses tiny LEDs, red, green, and blue, as the pixels, and they're direct emissive. There's no projector.
So this is used in some movie theaters. There's no projector.
It is.
It's like a big TV, but they don't want you to know that.
It's a big giant TV. That's essentially correct.
So where is this being used?
Well, Samsung has, I don't know, 3 or 4 around the world.
Do
maybe
they look
half
great?
A dozen.
Is this a really cool thing?
It's a super cool thing. A super cool thing.
Why is it so super cool?
Because it can get much brighter than any projected image.
Oh.
So it's much better for high dynamic range.
Right.
So
now going to the movie theater will be almost as good as watching your OLED TV at home.
Except that it's a 50-foot screen.
Oh, my God. How much? Because that must cost a gazillion dollars.
A gazillion dollars, yeah. It's tremendously expensive.
But one of the things we've seen with these micro LEDs, I know this isn't a micro LED, but that's what when they showed this at CES last year, is that you take little micro LED panels and you can assemble them into as big a screen as you want.
Correct, exactly. It's what's called a tiled display. So you have a square tile of maybe a foot on a side, and you just assemble them together into a bigger screen. And the seams between the panels are essentially invisible. Some people say, "Oh, I saw it. Look, I saw the seam." Well, maybe under certain rare conditions, you might barely be able to see it, but I don't worry about that.
Not on a 50-foot screen. You're sitting. That's the thing. In a movie theater, you're sitting fairly far back.
Yeah.
So this Sony technology, is it similar to the Samsung technology?
Yes, it is. It is similar to the Samsung technology. So I'm really interested to see. They're going to show MIB International,
the new Men in Black movie.
The new Men in Black movie, which apparently has not been getting great reviews. I don't really care. I loved the first Men in Black. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah.
So okay, that's what they're showing. But it's going to be in high dynamic range. And the interesting thing about that is the only commercial cinema high dynamic range system currently employed out in the market, deployed, I should say, is Dolby Vision in a Dolby Cinema, which is a projection-based system. There is no high dynamic range format, standard anyway, for any other kind of display system in the theater. So
I didn't realize that. So these really expensive DLP digital projectors that movie theaters have spent $15,000 on, they're not high dynamic range. $150,000.
Well, $150,000. Yeah, they are if they're in a Dolby Cinema, but otherwise they're not. They're just not. And even the Samsung movie theater here in LA, there's one out in Winnetka in the western San Fernando Valley. They don't show high dynamic range on it. It's perfectly capable of showing high dynamic range, but they don't show it because there is no standard. There is no way to encode the movie such that it shows in high dynamic range on that type of screen.
Yeah.
So there have been demos of it, industry demos, and what I'm going to see at Sony, actually at the studios of Sony Pictures, is going to be in high dynamic range. And I'm going to certainly ask, well, how did you get it to be high dynamic range? What format did you use? The other interesting thing about all these types of micro LED cinema screens is, where do you put the front speakers? Because in a normal theater with a projector, you have a screen that is perforated.
Oh, yes.
It has little tiny holes in it. And you put
speakers are behind the screen?
Exactly right.
Wow.
They're behind the screen, and the sound comes through those tiny little holes, which is important because you want the sound of the characters and the action on the screen to come from where it is on the screen. With a micro LED screen, you can't do that because it's not an acoustically transparent screen. It's acoustically opaque. So what Samsung does is they put speakers above and below the screen, and they use sound processing to sort of make it appear as if the sound is coming from the middle of the screen. I assume Sony's doing something similar to that, but I don't really know. I will find out on Thursday.
Now,
so it's going to.
This is not in many theaters worldwide. You said Samsung's only in a handful of theaters worldwide. Handful. So is it something we should seek out?
Well, see, again, the problem is I haven't really sought out the one even in my neighborhood. Well, it's not exactly my neighborhood, but it's not far away. I haven't really thought I would go there because they're not showing anything in high dynamic range, which is really the benefit of having this type of screen.
That's conceivable, though, because, of course, nowadays movie theaters don't get big cans of film delivered to their door on a hand truck. They get it all digitally. They get a hard disk.
Yeah. They get a hard disk or download it from satellite, but it's more common to get actually a physical hard disk.
It's so many bits, it's a lot more efficient just to send them a hard drive. Yeah,
exactly.
So, I mean, if it's just bits, are movies shot in high? Yes, because when I watch them at home, they're in high dynamic range.
Absolutely. They are shot, many of them, most of them are shot in high dynamic range.
This seems doable.
It does. It absolutely does. What we need is a standard format that allows high dynamic range to be represented digitally on these hard drives in the file, which is called a digital cinema package or DCP. and stored on the hard drive and then displayed on this micro LED display or some other display that can understand that format and display it in the high dynamic range. There's a company in France that's trying to make its way into this particular market called Eclair, like the French éclair. And éclair color is a high dynamic range format that is being proposed as possibly useful for digital cinema, aside from Dolby Vision, which is, as I say, currently the only high dynamic range format that's deployed out in the field in commercial cinemas. Only in Dolby cinemas, obviously, because it's a Dolby technology and they want to keep close tabs on it.
Oh, man.
So this is going to be very
war comes to your movie theater. You'd never have thought that, right? I mean, yeah.
And how are movie theaters going to pay for these giant micro LED screens? Because they're hell expensive.
Yeah.
Just monstrously expensive. So are the studios, is Sony going to subsidize them? Is Samsung subsidizing them? I don't know. I will look into that.
Well, you understand why there's pressure, because movie theaters are most threatened by us at home.
That's right.
Watching on our HDR OLED screens with our surround sound and our own inexpensive homemade popcorn.
Which is so much better than
so much
popcorn.
better with actual butter. Not, quote, real butter, but actual butter.
That's right.
Yeah, I can see why movie theaters might be, but God, there's economic pressure on them like crazy. They've put in
like crazy.
They put in, the lounge seating in our theater here, and they've shrunk. That means they've shrunk the number of people who go.
Seats. Yep.
All right, Scott. Well, I'll be very interested. We'll hear from you next week after you see it. Scott Wilkinson, you'll find him at techhive.com, and of course, each week right here on the Tech Guy Show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More of your calls right after this. La 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 la.
La 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 la. Song.
So the lip sync went away immediately.
Mike B says I went out of sync again.
Immediately. What are you running in the background there on your computer?
Nothing. Only Safari. It's the only thing I'm running in the background. Because I actually had a...
Did you have Safari running when you called?
Yeah.
Huh. You're okay now.
Yeah. I haven't changed anything.
Yeah, it's fine now. Only when you go on the air, which makes no sense. Since that doesn't touch your system at all.
What the hell's going on here?
What the heck is going on here? I don't know. It's Skype. It's a band. It's anyway. It doesn't matter. It's a radio show, but it's just
right.
Irks me.
It irks me too. It is irksome. Exactly.
Urkel. All right, all yours. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hey everybody, happy to be here as always. K. Lou, won't the individual pixels be bigger then? I assume you mean with the micro LED. Actually, probably not. I'll find out more when I go down to Sony, but these individual pixels are very small. On the Sony, the previous generation of Crystal LED, which they called Cletus, Crystal LED Integrated System, so it's probably roughly the same. I believe the individual pixels were like a millimeter or something. Mike, you might remember. Mike Heiss might remember the dot pitch on those. I remember I wrote it down at CES a couple of years ago, and now I can't remember what it was. But it was very small. Very small. So I don't think the individual pixels will be particularly bigger than they are in a projected image, because, again, the projected image is going onto a 50-foot screen. I don't think this one I'm going to see is actually 50 feet. That's probably an exaggeration. It's more like probably 30. But it's big. Mike B. Yeah, now what happens? How come the delay was so bad when I was on the air and now it's not? I just don't get it. Mike B says it has to do with the amount of movement I do. I am more animated when I'm on air. That's true. I like being animated. Can that possibly be it? Let's see. If I do this and I'm wiggling my hand across the screen really fast. So it's like a second delay. I don't know. M. Lewis H., this would require a huge data rate to light up that many pixels? No, not really. Same data rate, I think, as a projected image. You're lighting up that many pixels one way or another. K. Lou says the pixels might create a screen door effect depending on the resolution. Well, the resolution depends on how many tiles you put together. I don't think that you're really going to see a screen door effect, at least not at a normal seating distance. I mean, if you get right up to the screen of a projected image or a crystal LED or micro LED, you'll see the individual pixels, but that's not how you watch a movie. You sit at a normal distance and you watch the movie from there, and so it's not going to cause a screen door effect. I'm almost certain of that. Let's see. Tim Elliott, how hard is it to match up the pixels between panels perfectly? Apparently not difficult because of the mounting hardware. So you mount these tiles into a frame structure, and that frame structure is very precisely built.
Stick around for the top.
You betcha.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Let's talk high tech, you and me. Line 3, John, Alberta, Canada. Hello, John.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Anyways, Windows.
Winders.
Well, I'll tell you. The upgrade to the 1903.
Yeah.
Now, I have a Asus ZenBook that's about a year old, and I'm getting this message that it's not compatible, but they're working on it.
Oy.
Now, my daughter has an HP desktop, which is probably 4 or 5 years old. It's all ready to do it. So I just do I just continue to wait? Or
I would
eventually.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. I would do not embrace trouble. Seems no real point. Remember, these are so what 1903 is. It's 2019, third month, March. So it's the March 2019 update. Here we are in July. And it's finally coming out for most people. So that's why from now on, Microsoft's going to call it first half, second half, not March or September. But every 6 months, in March and September of the last couple of years, Microsoft's put out, it's important to understand this, a feature update. This is not a security patch. You get those every second Tuesday of the month. You get those automatically. And as long as you're getting those, that's what really matters. The feature updates, frankly, are minor in almost every case. They're not a big difference. Okay. I'm not sure exactly why Microsoft even tries to do this twice a year. They've had so many problems with compatibility. Furthermore, and this is a bigger cause for concern, Microsoft has now said, oh, and by the way, if you don't take the feature update, eventually, you know how they're saying Windows 7 end of life, right?
Right.
That's coming in January. Well, it turns out they're going to even do end of life, end of support for these push versions. So 1709, if you're still on 1709 for some reason, you're going to stop receiving updates. You're not going to receive any more updates. You're going to have to move to 1803, and then from 1803, you're going to want to move to 1809, and then from 1809 you're going to want to move to 1903, and then from 1903 you're going to want to move to 1909 this fall. It's and on and on and on. So they're going to apparently only keep it around for a couple of years. You're going to be expected to move on. Now, for most people, that's not an issue because if you have Windows 10, you're actually only able to defer, in most cases, an update for a month, and in some cases for a year, but no more than a year. So you kind of have to take the updates. But the real issue is for people like you. Because if you have hardware, like your Asus ZenBook, that can't be upgraded, what are you supposed to do? Is Microsoft telling you in 2 years you have to buy a new computer? That's not acceptable.
Leo, is there any use going to Asus and saying, look, I have this...
Oh, they know. Believe me. Even if you don't, hundreds have, thousands, maybe millions. They'll update it. It's the problem is what you might ask them, well, what is it? And you might find that it's our screen, our keyboard backlight doesn't work with 1809.
Yeah, something,
or 1903. And if it's that, you might say, well, I don't care. Because you can, by the way, I should tell you this, you can force 1903, and I guess that's really the point of your question, should I? I wouldn't. I mean, 1903 is not going to go belly up for a couple of years, so I don't think there's any pressure to do it. As long as you're getting those monthly security updates, I wouldn't worry.
If it ain't broke, I'm going to fix it. There's one more thing I just wanted to mention. I've just been thinking a lot and watching some of the NASA feed of 50 years ago.
Isn't this exciting?
It is. I'm a little bit older than you, but I can sure remember sitting with my parents watching. I think it was on a black and white TV.
Oh, yeah, it was black and white, yeah.
Yeah, the signal from the moon was black and white anyway. But
right.
It's really amazing.
Who can forget?
I guess Trump. I guess they're saying now 5 years to their back. I don't know if that was. I was watching a NASA feed, and Mike Pence was talking. He said that's.
I got to point out, every president since 1969 has said we're going back to the moon. Yeah. Every single one. Well, it's a lot of work, and it's a risky proposition, and it's for very limited value, I might point out. It's really national pride. There are other things we could do in space, lots of things. Space station's very valuable to us, and mining asteroids would be incredibly profitable and valuable. And there are a number of people, space experts, who say this whole idea of going back to the moon or going to Mars is really less for science and more for other, humans going back, I should say, because of course we've sent probes.
Right.
Is more for pride than it is for science. On the other hand, sending probes to the asteroids for mining them would be extremely valuable for the future of space exploration, because the real problem is what they call the energy well of getting from the Earth's surface to orbit. That's the most massive expenditure of energy. If you built rockets in Earth orbit and then sent them to the moon, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, or out into the universe, it would be much easier. So honestly, there are things I think NASA should be doing. I think that we did the moon, and man, the greatest thing humankind has ever achieved as far as I'm concerned. But you and I remember it. I was 12. I'll never forget it. Sitting with my family watching it on the old black and white Zenith. It's something you don't forget. And I still get chills every single time, and you'll hear it a lot today because this is exactly the 50th anniversary of the moonwalk, July 20th, 1969.
I'm going to try to watch the Walter Cronkite. CBS.com, I believe, is replaying their coverage starting about half. So I'm just going to sit there like I'm
jealous. I would love to watch it. Are they doing it in real? They're doing it in real time, huh?
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah.
So we missed the moonwalk then, but there's still lots going on. Wow, that is so cool.
Well, yeah, Mountain Time. I think it's 2-something the landing is, and then early about 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock tonight is the walking.
Oh, good. So there's still time.
Yeah, so we're still time. We're good. Yeah.
I will be watching. That is pretty exciting. Is that, you said CBS.com? Yeah, because to me it's Uncle Walter. It's got to be Walter Cronkite.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Hey, it's really great to talk to you. Us old timers, we got to remember these great moments. Hey, do you remember when Christopher Columbus came to America back? That was an amazing thing. 1492. What an amazing. No, we're not. We're not that old. I know that. Hey, it's good to talk to you. Have a good one. Take care, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, this Windows Update thing is a total mess. Microsoft has just incredibly messed this up, and I don't really know what the answer to this is. I find it offensive that if you don't get the latest feature update in a couple of years, you will no longer get to support and patches and fixes for your version of Windows 10. That's offensive. What if I have a computer that can't be updated? It's running just fine on 1709 or 1803, but Microsoft says, yeah, but we're not going to support it. It's 2 years later. Well, what's my fix? Well, you got to buy a new computer? A 2-year-old computer? That's not okay. End of support is coming. Let me see what the Microsoft has a whole page of this. The Microsoft retirement calendar. Oh, this is because Microsoft says, and you know their excuse is, well, look, we're not charging for, you've got Windows, we're not going to ever charge you for Windows again, but as a result, we're not going to support it, you know, your older versions forever. I think that's crazy. I'll put a link in the show notes to the Microsoft page. It's the Windows life cycle fact sheet. I think I'm going to be hearing from people. Windows 1803, end of service, November 12th. November 12th. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And now we return to your regularly scheduled programming. Mr. Scott Wilkinson. Woo. Let me give you your clock.
I have more than 34 seconds, I think.
That's the break is a little early, so that's to the break. And now you will get your 8 minutes.
And then I'll get my 8 minutes or whatever it is, or 4 minutes or whatever it turns out to be.
It's quite a long time, I believe.
Yeah.
You should have a very massive amount of time. So
we just watched a thing last night, the Nova, on going back to the moon, and they were making a pretty good case for it potentially being profitable with mining.
Yeah.
The moon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of minerals up there that would be useful, plus as a staging area for interplanetary exploration.
And that certainly would make sense.
As you point out, the gravity well of Earth is very deep and very difficult to get out of, but the gravity well of the moon, much less so. So that would be something worth thinking about there anyway. Plus the fact that apparently there's, you know, billions of tons of frozen water at the poles.
Right. That's a very exciting prospect.
It is. It is.
I think the real issue I have is with the idea of going to Mars, which is really a foolish waste of time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Other than for the exploratory
just
value.
to say we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, like sort of like the moon.
Right.
Although there was some scientific advantage that came out of that, and probably would be on a Mars journey as well. But yeah, what's the point? Other than perhaps establishing a colony against the extinction of humanity on Earth.
There's massive issues with putting a colony. It's incredibly difficult to live on Mars. It's almost impracticably difficult.
Yeah.
So that's not a good plan B.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Better to save our own world than...
Well, it's just there's all sorts of problems with Mars. It's highly toxic. You know, I mean, there's all sorts of issues that just make Mars not practicable. Yep. Elon's a little nutty.
Yeah, I would not disagree. So anyway, hey everybody, we've got a little time to talk here. Let me go back across the chat room and see what I can find. Twisted Mister was wondering if somebody would maybe try to build a chassis-less LCD TV. That is, more to the point, a bezel-less. And there are LCD TVs now that claim to be bezel-less, that is without the border around the screen, but they aren't really. It's just very thin. And I don't think it's possible to make one without a border at all, because there's some electronics that need to go along the edges of an LCD TV that don't need to go along the edge of micro LED. So that's why I think that's not going to happen. I think you also pointed out that there are an awful lot of video walls being used in a wide variety of areas, retail in particular, and that's true. Most of those, though, are LCD TVs that have been tiled together, and you have these thin little bezels between them, and that's fine for retail, but I certainly wouldn't want to watch a movie that way. And there are some micro LED displays that are being used. Mike Heiss pointed out that some news channels use them behind the news desk, and he pointed out that there were some other ones as well. So they are being used out there in the field, but not very many as a movie screen. Now that's what I'm most interested in seeing down at Sony next week. Is this technology being used as a movie screen in high dynamic range? As I made the point on the air, this is the critical factor. If you're going to have this incredible high dynamic range capable technology and not show HDR on it, that is a super waste of money and effort and technology. Unfortunately, as I said, we don't have a format for it in that context. So I'm going to really be interested to see how Sony's doing it. Is it some sort of customized format that they're just using there? Is it something that could become a standard format? Man, I really want to know. Let's see here. Mandy the Clown, are there new technologies coming along for OTA, over the air? Or are they still kind of old school? Well, interestingly, ATSC 3.0, which is the next generation of over-the-air broadcasting, it's combining old school with new school. It does have an over-the-air broadcast component like ATSC 1.0 that we use now, but it also has an online component that provides interactivity. You can get onto the internet using it. Streaming, I think, will be somewhat integrated. I think Mike Heiss, Apple stores. Thank you, Mike Heiss. Apple stores also use micro LEDs. I think, Mike, you've studied ATSC 3.0 more than I have, and so you might have something more to say to Mandy the Clown about OTA, ATSC 3.0 being old school or new school. As I understand it, it sort of has the best of both worlds, which is kind of cool. Dot Pitch is asking, is Samsung ever going to support Dolby Atmos? I don't think so. They've gone down a slightly different road, or Atmos, audio, sorry. No, and I think not, and I suspect it's because they don't want to pay the licensing fee. Same is true of Dolby Vision high dynamic range. They went down a different road and helped to develop HDR10 Plus, which is HDR10 with dynamic metadata, which is one of the distinguishing characteristics of Dolby Vision. So instead of having one little piece of metadata that says, how bright does this whole movie get, and what's the average level of this whole movie, it says, what's the brightest and average level of each scene or even each frame? And HDR10 did not do that. Dolby Vision does. And so Samsung decided to modify HDR10 into HDR10 Plus, which uses dynamic metadata. And the question now is, will studios release content in it? Will it become as common as Dolby Vision? Dolby Vision has now been out for years. And any technology that tries to catch a well-established technology got a hard row to hoe, as they say. K. Lou says ATSC 3.0 will doubtless fuel a new wave of TVs. That's true. Mike Heiss says ATSC 3.0 will have localization, great emergency warnings, interactivity via a return broadband link. 4K is also possible if they want. I talked with Rich, what was his name now? I can't recall. One of the big mucky mucks at ATSC developing this. And certainly 4K is possible. I asked him if 8K was coming. He said, well, we're not even talking about that. So I don't think it's going to be any big deal there. Oh, Mike Heiss says Warner announced some HDR10 Plus discs this week. Well, there you go. If they do release some HDR10 Plus discs, then you're going to need a player and a TV that can handle them. Samsung got out of the disc player business altogether. So That's interesting. How are they going to play that onto a Samsung TV, which is HDR10 Plus capable? I believe Panasonic plasmas are as well, but they're not available in the U.S., so that may be a bit of a problem there. Twisted Mister says the vast majority of consumers are completely clueless and use whatever TV is on sale and run it at factory default settings. Yes, you're right. Sadly.
Thanks, Scott. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, Skype will work. Yep, Skype out. 8888 Ask Leo. Website, techguylabs.com. I put a link in to Microsoft's page about end of life and Windows 10. The big concern, of course, is in January when Windows 7 stops getting support. And really, when you come to that complete abrupt end where we're not even going to give you security patches, then it is time to move on. And I think a lot of people will be looking either at upgrading to Windows 10. If you ever did that on that computer, it's a free upgrade. You can do it again. Even if you rolled back to Windows 7 and said, ew, I think Windows 10 is pretty okay. Pretty okay. For Windows, it's pretty okay. I think they've buffed off the rough edges of Windows 8, and it's close to Windows 7. It's going to be an interesting concern, though. I'm not sure exactly what will happen when Microsoft in November says, okay, if you're not updated to 1809, or actually, I guess it'll have to be 1903, the current version. We're going to stop supporting you. That's going to be kind of a concern. I don't know what that means. Does that mean no more tech support? Yeah, probably. Does it mean no more security patches? I hope not. It's a little concerning. This is one of the few shows today that you won't hear audio of the moon landing or Neil Armstrong taking one small step. Not that I don't love it. I do. I just feel like, well, there's plenty of other places covering it. But there is one thing I guess I would mention about this big anniversary, the 50th anniversary of the first time humans set foot upon the moon, is that we owe a lot in computing to that. In fact, the computer that they used to land on the moon, as weak as it is compared, say, to our modern computers, even to this phone in your pocket, was still really the first truly interactive computer. It had to work in space. It had to work far away from the Earth. It couldn't rely on engineers at home. It was a very important breakthrough in interactivity. And there's some wonderful articles about the team that did that, including a woman named Margaret Hamilton. I don't think get mentioned as much as she ought to in this context, because in fact she really, in fact, there's a picture of her you can find a few years back. She got the Medal of Honor, Presidential Medal of Freedom, I should say, from President Obama in 2016. And at that time, there was a picture of her next to the code, the source code, which was, I think, taller than her. The printouts were actually taller than she was. She was an MIT programmer. And I think, in fact, the president said this when he gave her the Medal of Freedom. She symbolizes that generation of unsung women who helped send mankind into space. I think when you see movies like Hidden Figures, you appreciate a little bit better. She was immortalized as a Lego figurine, so I mean, come on. That's pretty good. She's 82 now, 82 years old, and joined the Apollo project in 1964. She had been writing software for detecting enemy aircraft when she saw an advertisement in the newspaper. MIT's instrumentation lab was looking for people to develop software to, quote, send man to the moon. They had a NASA contract to build the onboard flight software for the Apollo project. So she started doing that in 1964. Pretty amazing. 8888 Ask Leo. Clarence in Chesapeake, Virginia. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Clarence.
Hey, Leo, good to talk with you. Thanks for taking my call.
Nice to talk to you.
Hey, have you watched the Apollo 11? The Washington Monument used as a computer screen?
No, I haven't seen that. No, it's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can Apollo 11 Washington Monument.
I will check it out.
And the question I would ask Scott Wilkinson, this was a laser or something.
Yeah, they're doing laser. I bet it was laser. That's the state of the art now in projection on giant screens and concert venues and places like that.
And the sound system they used with that was also amazing. I'm sorry this doesn't work on radio, but, you know.
Wouldn't that be cool?
But the guys get a chance. They need to go on YouTube and take a look at it. It's going to be going on, I guess, for the next few days.
It's pretty cool. I mean, the rocket is about the size of the Washington Monument as projected on it. So
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is something to see. I'm looking at the video right now, and I guess there was a large gathering of people. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's been going on for a few days now.
So they launched what did they launch 3 or 4 days ago? Will they show the lunar module coming down the Washington Monument, landing on the moon? That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I know they showed the spacecraft, a projection of it.
Oh yeah, that's what they're doing. They're showing I skipped ahead. They're showing the lunar module coming down on the moon on the Washington Monument. What a projector that must be to fill that Washington Monument.
Perfect use for this weekend of the monument and Washington, D.C., and all the support we've got. And, you know, our technology today, the small transistors and the miniaturization and the computer they used to launch the thing and land the thing was very small compared to what we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the computer that they built for the lunar module couldn't have been built without integrated circuits, and it was the first computer built that way. They used tubes before that. So the fact that those integrated circuits had been invented just a couple of years before, the first time they were used was to land on the moon. And now today, of course, you can't find a computer anywhere that doesn't use integrated circuits. I don't think there are any tube computers left. So yeah, that's really we owe a lot to Apollo, more than just Velcro.
And orange juice.
Or Tang or Fisher Space Pens. Yeah. I think sometimes people diminish the value of our space exploration by saying, well, what do we get? We got Tang out of it. No, we got a lot more than that. We got personal computing. That's a pretty big deal. So, I guess if you get a chance to go to the Washington Monument and see that, they're going to do it today, but you can see the YouTube video right now, and it is pretty amazing as that rocket ship climbs up the Washington Monument. That is a sight. Hey, I appreciate the call. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, have a good day. Thank you.
All right, you take care. Yeah. Quite a amazing thing. And using those integrated circuits, right, in that projector. Our show today, bro, sometimes technology is amazing like that. It changes the world, and sometimes it's very simple. And yet, if you think back about it, it's pretty amazing. 8888 Ask Leo. More of your calls coming up in just a little bit. Website where we put everything, and I'll put this YouTube video up there too, because it's pretty cool. TechGuyLabs.com. That's free, and there's no sign up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go here. Michael in Anaheim, California. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Leo. Great to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you. Thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
Hey, man, I just wanted to get your opinion on what you think of these coding boot camps. Like, they advertise you can learn coding in, 12 weeks. Do you think it's really possible to learn that and, get a sustainable job after that?
That's a really good question. There is a huge demand for coders, but coding is a lifelong practice. It's not something you can learn in 12 weeks. On the other hand, you can get a pretty good start. So, I would not spend a lot of money because I think a lot of this stuff you can learn for very inexpensively or free. You could start places like Code Academy and check out their pricing. I think there's some very good coding courses. I've been coding for 30, 40 years, but I decided a couple of years ago to start over, to learn it right, because I had learned, like a lot of people in my generation, kind of the wrong way. We started with basic, and because that's what was available.
Right.
I later learned other languages, but I got some very bad habits from writing in basic, and so I've kind of relearned it. And I did it through a course that is free at edx.org. EDX is a joint venture of MIT and Harvard, but I took a course from the University of British Columbia called How to Code, and there's 2 parts. It's free. It's hard. So that's a very different way to learn. The code camps are really trying to teach you fast in a way that you can get a job. And I think people do get a job. And I don't want to be a purist. If you want to get into this, I think it's great. I don't think you'll be a great coder in 12 weeks. You'll be proficient. It's kind of the difference between learning to type and learning to write a novel. You know, you'll learn to type at a code camp. You'll learn how to put code together, but then there's a lifelong of learning. When I was a kid, I played chess, and I played pretty seriously, and I learned from books, and then I started going to tournaments, and I think there's a lot in common. You can learn the rules of chess. You can even read a lot of books and get pretty proficient at it. I would say you could become a pretty competent chess player in 12 weeks. But what makes you a great chess player is similar to what makes you a great coder, is a deeper understanding that comes from the patterns that you're looking at and the solutions. And that just comes from practice and experience. So nothing can... Go ahead.
Is there any particular language, though, that, like, you know, there's so many out there, like, is Python the best one to
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends what job you're looking for. So right now, if I were going to learn how to code and I wanted a job as quickly as possible, I would learn how to do full-stack web development, which means JavaScript as the language. But the language is the easiest part. Learning how to code, you can learn a computer language literally in a day, and especially once you've learned the first one, because the first one, there's going to be a lot of unusual, unfamiliar territory. But once you see that territory, then you're going to go, oh, I get that. And then you can learn another language, another language, another language. So that's not going to be a challenge. It's much more of a challenge to learn how to think about writing a program and to learn good, and this is the thing I didn't learn and I had to relearn, which good programming practice, which has to do with what you do before you write that first line of code. You know, what you do to study the problem domain and how you think about the problems that have to be solved. Designing, this is something that a code camp will spend some time on, designing data templates. You do that first. What's your data going to look like? And then you write the code later. I hope a good code academy would also teach you how to do test-driven development, where you write tests and then write the code to solve the problem. There's a lot of, I think, nowadays we understand a lot better what good coding practices are. So if you go to a code academy and you do a boot camp, and in 12 weeks you're a decent programmer, that part's not hard. It's actually not that hard to be a computer programmer. It's hard to be a good computer programmer, and it's really hard to be a really good computer programmer, and that's just going to take practice and experience. Python is a great first language for a couple of reasons. It's very good. It's commonly used for teaching. That's what Code Academy uses, because it's a good teaching language. It's easy to set up. It runs on every computer. It's free. And when you learn Python, you can use features of Python that make it easier to learn. It doesn't really matter what language you learn, because you're going to learn, but if, again, Java, which is completely different from JavaScript, and JavaScript are 2 languages that are very widely used in as a job. Python much less so. On the other hand, you're learning Python, you're learning coding, and then you can then apply it to JavaScript, or you can apply it to, it's better than basic. Yeah. I think, if you have an interest in it, maybe before you spend money on it, take one of the free courses available, MIT OpenCourseWare, iTunes U. I love that EDX course, just to see if you have a feel for it. You should love it. You should enjoy it. I love it. I'm a hobbyist programmer, though. I don't do it for a living, and I think if I had to do it for a living, I might not love it as much. I might have a different approach to it, because you have to produce. Me, I do it for fun. It's like solving Sudoku puzzles. It's a fun intellectual process. Learn it, do it. If you like it, do it. I think it's great. I encourage it.
Nice. Hey, just something about carbonite real quick. I learned that maybe the hard way that carbonite, once you delete it from the computer, it's gone 30 days later. Is there any way for them to always keep it or go back and get previously restored points or anything?
Yeah, I mean, so this kind of makes sense if you think about it. Carbonite's making a backup. If you delete the originals, then what's on Carbonite is the original. So my strong suggestion is not to delete the original. You want 2 copies. That's what a backup is. But you're right. Carbonite, to save money, they delete it after 30 days. They do have plans where they don't do that. And there are other ways to do that. Other backup solutions that don't do that. I can't remember. I think Carbonite does offer a plan where you don't, but it's much more expensive because you're using a lot of disk storage. And from their point of view, if you deleted the original, you must not want it. And that's not wrong. If you're deleting the original, you don't have a backup. Carbonite's holding the original, so don't delete both. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, keep the original. That would be my advice. Have a great day. I love coding. I love it. I love it to pieces. In fact, I stopped playing chess. I played chess when I was in high school, played pretty seriously, would play in tournaments. Never got great. Got to be a strong kind of club player. And when I found computers, I kind of left it in the dust. Although this is a golden age for online chess. But because I love programming. It's the same kind of thing. It's solving problems. But I have mixed feelings about the idea that you can go to a school and in 12 weeks be an adept coder. You could be a competent programmer, but that's just the beginning of a lifelong journey. I'm looking at my bookshelf, hundreds of books about Python, JavaScript, other languages. There's a ton to learn. And then once you learn that, then you have to get into the arena that you're going to write software for, and they call that the problem domain. If you're writing business software, you have to understand what that software needs to do. You have to talk, and maybe you're good at that. That might be something you'd be very good at, is talking to the people who'll be using the software, figuring out what their needs are, creating a specification. The last thing you do, the very last thing, is write the code. 8888 Ask Leo Laporte. The Tech Guy. More of your calls coming up just a little bit. He's been everywhere, man. He's Johnny Jett. He's breathing the mountain air. He's joins us every week to help us travel better with technology. JohnnyJett.com. Hello, Mr. JJ. How are you today?
Hello, Leo. How you doing?
When's the little jet due? Soon, right?
In 6 weeks.
Ay. And
6 weeks.
And your poor wife is just kind of
miserable.
At least it's not burning hot where you are, which is good.
That is very true. Very true. I mean, the rest of the country, especially on the East Coast, is just
so bad, man. It's just
sweltering.
They canceled the New York City marathon, and I mean, it's just so hot.
There was a New York City that usually takes place in November.
Oh well, maybe I got that wrong. But anyway,
okay.
They canceled something.
Yeah, you don't want to have a marathon in New York City.
Something they canceled. They canceled something.
Yeah, you got to, and you know what? Actually, just read today that an ex-New York Giant died in Oklahoma or Arkansas.
Hey.
He was 32 years old from heat exhaustion, or heat. What's the word?
Yeah, heat exhaustion. That's what we used to call it before Gatorade. It's the triathlon they canceled.
Okay, well, that's crazy. The triathlon
and Ozzy Fest.
Right.
That was also
I was in
canceled.
Florida this week, and it was.
How's your dad doing? He's down there. It's got to be miserable down. But they're used to it in Florida. That's the difference.
Yeah, 90 degrees every day. At night, it's like 78.
Right.
He had an operation this week, so I went in for it. He had a TAVR, T-A-V-R, which is this incredible technology. I mean, to fix a valve in his heart, they went through his groin. And it was like an hour-and-a-half procedure.
I've always said the way to a man's heart is through his groin. So now TAVR proves it. It's a transcatheter aortic valve replacement.
Yeah, and we were worried about him because he's 90 years old. And
but see, that's the thing. They don't have to crack his chest or anything. It's a lot easier on yourself. And it worked. Was it a good procedure?
Yeah, he was in ICU for like 3 hours.
Isn't that amazing?
They said regardless of your age, you're usually in ICU overnight, and he was not. So
awesome! Congratulations. That's wonderful. I'm very glad to hear it. So help us travel better now. Come on, Johnny. You're here to do that now. Come on. Come on, Johnny.
Well, this one's not going to help you travel. It's just this week is the 50th anniversary, and I just saw you playing.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, man, I love this stuff.
So I'm not sure if you mentioned it already, but, there's a free iOS app that was developed by a Smithsonian channel, and it's called Apollo's Moonshot AR. It's 2.2 gigs, so it's a big download. Yeah, it took like 10 minutes to download it on my. But it's pretty cool, and they released it in part with like a 6-part series that they did on the moon landing on their channel in June. And but it's pretty cool the stuff you can do. You can take a selfie like you're in space.
Nice.
You can, I just put the Earth in our living room. I was just showing Jack right before we got on. I was like, look at my phone, and he's like looking around, going, he can't understand why Earth is in a corner. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
I assume you remember that day. I think most Americans
vividly.
do.
Well, I'm old enough. I was 12 years old. I remember it very well. It was probably formative, right?
And were you in Rhode Island?
I was in Providence with my mom and dad. We were sitting. I remember vividly sitting in the family room, watching the little black and white screen. It was on a roller stand. It probably was 17, 18 inches. Probably wasn't that big. 19, I think, was the big screen TV in those days. Black and white. Wow. Yeah, because Dad wouldn't get color. They had color by then, but Dad said, color doesn't look realistic. I don't want a color TV, which is fine because the moon landing was the first video from the moon was black and white. Later, they got color going.
Did they? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, it was pouring rain in Connecticut, according to my parents. So
probably was. I don't remember the weather because I was glued to the screen and Uncle Walter Cronkite.
Well, I was fortunate to meet Buzz Aldrin a couple times on different flights. One of them was an Emirates A380 launch.
Nice. He's a piece of work. He's a character.
He sure is.
And Mike Collins is still going strong, too. It's pretty amazing. I mean, that's 50 years later. Buzz, I interviewed Buzz when his book came out, and I have an autographed copy somewhere, which I really ought to find.
That's awesome. Yeah, he seems like... Yeah.
Never met Neil Armstrong, which was he really is my hero. And would have loved to have met him because he was cool and calm.
For sure.
Boy, was he the right stuff guy.
Well, speaking of Rhode Island, actually, there's a cool new tool out that's for Massachusetts for great white shark sightings.
Oh, great.
So
why they're picking on Massachusetts? Is that because of Jaws?
I would think so. But, lately, it just seems like there's so many different shark attacks, even though the chances of being bitten by a shark are way less than
getting hit by lightning.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a pretty cool. They use a Google map.
I blame the Shark Week. I blame this on Shark Week. It's Discovery Channel's fault. They made this scary.
Yeah. But listen, I still want to sue Steven Spielberg because growing up, I would hear the Jaws theme in my head when I was swimming in a pool.
Yeah.
And I used to jet ski. That's how I got my name, Johnny Jet Ski. And I would be cruising, and when I'd fall off the jet ski, I would go, "Oh my God, here it comes!
I'm gonna die."
But anyway, it's an app and a website, and the website is Atlantic White Shark. It was actually teamed up with the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy, and it's called the Shark Tivity Map. And so it's a simple tool. It shows you a blue icon, and if you use the app, it will notify you if there is a shark sighting right then and there. And if you actually see one, you can put it in, and it will show you all the confirmed sighted, all those sharks in there.
Watch out for Megalodon.
Megalodon.
They say our goal here is to raise awareness and facilitate the peaceful coexistence between humans and white sharks. So that's good. They're not going to sensationalize your chance of getting attacked.
For sure. Yeah. Listen, I've swam with sharks many times in
Most
Australia.
sharks do not eat humans.
No. Tahiti. They it was actually an amazing experience. When they told me you're going to go in the water with sharks, I was like, hell no. But I was once I got in, it felt peaceful, and it was peaceful. So, but again, you just want to make sure you're safe. And I know a lot of people are afraid of them. So this is an app that would be good if you're going towards the coast.
Kevin King, one of our editors, is a shark fan / fearer because of Shark Week. He's a young guy. He's in his 20s. He has a lot of shark paraphernalia. But I think secretly he does fear getting bit by a shark. Don't worry.
Well,
most
Jack's
sharks are
favorite
very nice.
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark.
And I don't know if you read that. You heard the song Baby Shark, I assume. And if you haven't, then you don't want to listen to it.
When my kid was growing up, it was Baby Beluga. I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure it's not so different.
Oh, just Google it. And
No.
The song made the top.
I'll take it as written. I will. I'll believe you. Johnny Jett is at johnnyjett.com. That's his website. Lots of good stuff there, including his app picks, his websites, his newsletter, which is free. You should subscribe to it. His travel news, actually several, including a great fair deal alert, which is very handy. We're going to be flying Jett, the new United Polaris, I think.
Not to L.A.
No, to the East Coast in the fall.
Okay,
did they
good.
do Polaris across country?
Across country, they do.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing
San Francisco, Newark, and L.A.
SFO to Logan, I think. Maybe we won't be getting it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Johnny Jett. Don't forget to follow him on the Twitter, at Johnny Jett. On the Instagram. You got some good baby pictures coming up?
I don't post too many
you should
pictures.
And did you put a picture of yourself looking really old with FaceApp?
No, I did not. I was smart enough not to do that.
Oh, come on. You got your face everywhere else. It's on the camera right now. If the Russians really wanted a picture of you, it wouldn't be hard to find. You want to be scared? You want to see Leo's picture?
Of course I do.
Holy
cow.
Leo Laporte, the old tech guy. More coming up right after this. Our show today brought to you by Capterra. Business software is, well, the very name tells you, vital to your business, right? Computing really transformed business. And some of you are still using programs from those early days, programs that require, here's how you know. Does it require Internet Explorer 8? Does it say must run on Windows XP? Does it say, and I know so many people are running old business software because they don't know. Capterra will tell you there is great software out there, no matter what your line of business, no matter what you need to do, and Capterra is a directory of them all. 700 categories of business software, all the big names like CRM and IT project management, e-commerce, link management tools, web conferencing, but also direct line of business stuff like yoga studio management, dental office management, veterinary office management. There are hundreds of thousands of programs there covering every possible facet of business, all of them modern, state-of-the-art. And the best part is you can search for what you're looking for. You'll find immediately all the programs in that category, but you'll also be able to narrow it down by how many stars it has, by how many seats it supports. Is it on premises? Is it running in the cloud? That kind of thing. Narrow it down to the ones that have just the features you want. And then the best part at Capterra is the reviews. Nearly 1 million reviews now from actual users, verified users. So you'll know if the program will do what you want it to do. There are 1,000 new reviews every day. I would say in about a month or two, they're going to get over 1 million reviews total, 950,000 plus right now. That means it's the ultimate directory of software for your business. No matter what kind of software your business needs, Capterra makes it easy to discover the right solution. And once you find that software, don't forget, leave a review, pay it forward, share your knowledge with other buyers. That's what makes Capterra so great. It's a great community. I left out the most important part. All of this stuff, you'd pay for it, right? You don't have to. It's absolutely free. No charge. Not freemium, not you'll pay down the road. You'll never pay. It's free. Join the millions of people who use Capterra every month to find the right tools for your job. Capterra.com/techguy. CAPTERRA. Capterra.com/Tech Guy. Capterra is software selection simplified. I thank him so much for making the Tech Guy podcast possible. I thank you for supporting the Tech Guy podcast by using that special address. Capterra.com/Tech Guy. Don't suffer any longer. Go to Capterra. Find something great. You can throw away your Windows Vista machine, finally. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Back to the phones we go. Line 4, William in Woodland Hills, California. Hello, William.
Hey, Leo. I spoke to you last about 5-6 years ago.
Wow.
I was on my website, and all of a sudden it pops up and says that you've been attacked.
Yikes.
And I told you about the name of the company, and then 2 weeks later you talked to the guys who ran the company, and they had proprietary technology to take care of that.
Yeah, in fact, it was because of your call that I called them and said, let's find out more about this. So thank you. I remember that very well. You gave me a challenge.
Well, I appreciate you resolving it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we like to do, if I can anyway, is figure out what's going on.
Well, listen here. I'm not here to badmouth anybody, but you said something bad about GoDaddy last week. I used a derogatory word about it, and I was just wanting to know why. Because I've been with them for like 20 years, and I just kind of...
Well, I don't want to chase you away from GoDaddy if you're happy. But what GoDaddy does, there's several things GoDaddy does. You know, there were a domain, or I guess still are, a domain name registry. And honestly, I think that should be decoupled from the biggest part of their business, which is web hosting and other stuff. And so I generally tell people, if you can, register your domain name with some company that just does domain name registry. That way, it's separate from the website. So, because if you have problems with a company, you don't want them to take your name as well as the website. That would be bad. That's part. No, but that's a potential threat. Here's what I don't like. A couple of things I don't like about GoDaddy, and some of it goes back in history. I didn't like their ads for a long time. You may remember there was sexist Super Bowl ads. They did horrible Super Bowl ads. They did. The founder of GoDaddy, who has since left, was not a great human being, and I wasn't a big fan of his. Now there have been accusations since the new owners or the new management has taken over that I haven't confirmed, but there are accusations about GoDaddy, and if you search, you'll find them, about something that they do that a number of registrars do that I don't like. Supposedly, if you go to GoDaddy, this is why I don't use them and don't recommend them as a domain name registrar, and search for a domain name, but forget or don't register it, a short time later, you'll find it has been registered by GoDaddy and is now offered for sale at a higher price. They say they don't do that, but I've heard from so many people that that's happened, I have to wonder. Finally, I don't think it's the best web hosting out there at all. I think that they oversell the capacity. If you're on a shared server, and in many cases you're on a shared server, that means other people are on your server with you. I don't think that is the best place to put your website. Now, I should mention that we have a sponsor, WordPress.com, and prior to that, it was Squarespace.com, both of whom I think make very good websites, very easy to do. They are shared, but I think they have a higher standard for the software that they run and for the quality of the sites you can create. So I would recommend either of those. Google offers free website hosting with its Blogger. Now, there are lots of places you can go. I don't think GoDaddy's a particularly good company. They're very big. They're probably the #1 domain registrar in the world. 18 million customers as of March. 9,000 employees. If you even look them up on Wikipedia and you look at, there's a whole section on the Super Bowl ads, which I found loathsome, and the issues that they've been involved in that are somewhat controversial. So there are other domain registrars I would use, and I think there are other website hosting companies I would use. However, I got to be fair. There's never been any proof that they're, doing bad things, nefarious things. It's all kind of anecdotal, this whole idea of registering domains once you go there to search for them. I guess the best thing to do is say, this is my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. It's somebody I don't do business with, and I would encourage people not to. But that's personal opinion. It's not based on anything but a kind of a gut feel. How about that? And if you're happy with him, if you've been with him for all that time and never had a problem with him, I see no reason to change. Bob in Woodland Hills. This is Woodland Hills Day. Hi, Bob. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for pulling over for me. I want you to be safe.
I am. I just pulled over.
I can tell.
Yeah, I have a couple questions about Dell. One is that I was told that everything that Dell does now comes out of India rather than Texas anymore.
Yeah, it's sad. They used to have the best tech support in the business out of Austin. I remember visiting their call center. I was so impressed. It was Round Rock, but it was, near Austin. But as with everybody, it's part of this. You can't blame them completely for this. We want prices down. Remember how much a computer used to cost compared to what they cost today? Well, one of the things it has to give is tech support. That's the most expensive part of that whole computer. One call to a tech support number can cost them $20, $25. And some people never call. I never call. But if you called 10 times, there's no profit in that computer. So the first thing that went when price pressure pushed down the prices of those computers was, we're going to offshore our tech support. You can buy better support from Dell. You can buy Dell Gold support. I don't know where that comes from, but it's better quality for sure. And that might be a good idea. There's no company that offers great tech support except maybe Apple. And look at the cost of Apple's computers. You know exactly where that money comes from.
Now, does that include all the hardware from India? Or
No. The hardware, all Dell computers, almost all computers you buy today are made in China. And one of the reasons they make them in China is not cost. It's part of it. Labor costs are lower there, but that's not a significant part of the cost. It's that most of the suppliers of parts are nearby, also in China. So it's a simpler process of getting those, instead of shipping those parts to the United States and then assembling it and then shipping it again, they assemble it in China. They may make some stuff in India. That I wouldn't be surprised. If they do, it's because of rules in the Indian government. There's tariff rules that mean a company to sell a product in India has to manufacture it in India. That's why Apple's Foxconn, for instance, has an Indian plant so that they can sell iPhones in India. But if you're buying a Dell computer in the United States, it almost certainly is assembled in China.
All right. Well, let me ask the other question.
Sure.
We recently bought a Dell and Inspiron and went with the solid state hard drive because you had recommended that.
Yep.
And it's a smaller 256, but when I did properties on it to find out how much memory I actually had in there to use, it was like 80 gigabytes and everything else was, it said it was already filled. So is there just a lot of junk that I could get rid of out of there?
Well, there's Windows, but Windows shouldn't be more than about 50 gigabytes. There may be other stuff on there if you installed other applications. There is an entire partition on almost all Windows computers, an entire partition, usually not too big, a few gigabytes, holding the Windows Restore files. That's kind of a hidden partition. That does seem like an awful lot if you got a 256 gig drive to have. How much free? 80 gigs free?
Well, roughly. The one big program we did put Office on.
Well, that takes up maybe 100, not 100, but that takes up a significant amount. There's a program it's free called WinDirStat, WinDirStat, that will tell you what's eating that space. Yeah, they might make them in Ireland as well and other places. It says WinDirStat, WinDirStat.net. It's a free program. And what it does that I think is really useful and might help you a little bit is it shows you a graphical view of what's taking up space on your hard drive, in colors and colored blobs. And so I find that very useful. Let me make sure that I haven't used this in years, but make sure it's still available for current versions of Windows. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's a really nice little program. And so it'll give you can see, because it's very graphical, you can see what the blobs are, what's taking up all that space. They color it by whether it's an application or data and all of that stuff. It does sound like you don't have a lot of space, but it's hard to tell if I'm not sure. It depends on what you've got installed on there. Okay, Windirstat, WINDIRSTAT.net.
Well, we'll check it out.
Yeah, and thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here. It's Tech Guy time. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches. We got your augmented reality, your virtual reality, your real reality. It's all here. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you want to talk high tech with me. 888-827-5536. That's toll free, and anywhere in the U.S. Or Canada. Outside that area, you could still talk. You could still call, but you just have to use Skype out or something like that. Website, techguylabs.com, by the way. Now, that's important because everything I talk about here is reflected on that website, thanks to James DeRuvo writing it all down. We even put audio and video from the show after the fact up at techguylabs.com. And the real advantage to all of that is you don't have to remember anything. You don't have to write anything down. If you're listening to the show, you can just go to the website after the fact. You can also add your comments. If you have a thought, if you have a better idea, another tool. A lot of times people listening come up with a better solution. We're all in this together. I love that. techguylabs.com. And finally, the other nice thing about it is all the previous shows are there, audio and video. So you can go back in time and see what we were talking about as far back as 2004, 15 years back. That's how long the Tech Guy show's been on the air. techguylabs.com. Final point, it's free. There's no sign up. I don't want any information about you. I don't want your money. It's there as a service to you for listening to the show. Thank you. And thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. DW, Encinitas, California is next. Hello, DW.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Good to talk to you again.
Forget the YouTube, too. We watch you on YouTube.
And we're on YouTube streaming. We're on all the streaming services. Yeah, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube.
I have a story for you.
Yes, sir.
Ripped from the headline minutes with DW.
The new podcast with only the best news.
You know, the last time we talked about that was a couple of weeks ago. And, it was kind of slow. Immediately, 107 people were listening.
All right.
And then, now it's up to 7,100.
What?
So,
hey, congratulations.
That's 34 countries, including Iran. Can you believe that?
Now you're a successful show. Now you're, podcasting's the next big thing, DW.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Good.
Listen, I got this great story, and I had it on, I guess it was Friday. And you were talking today about the lady that was the computer expert.
Oh, Margaret Hamilton. Yeah.
No. There's a lady named Sue Finley. She worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory prior to the launch of the first American satellite into orbit, which was 1958, which was a couple of months after the Russians did it with Sputnik.
Sputnik, yeah.
She's 82 now.
Oh.
She's one of NASA's longest-serving women. Now, here's what she did. She was a human computer. They couldn't afford computers, evidently.
In the early days, a computer was not a machine. A computer was a person.
Yeah.
And a person who did computations, and it was almost exclusively women.
Yeah, exactly. And she had dropped out of college, and she joined this group of mathematically gifted individuals. Oh, they're overwhelmingly women. But it was to solve the equations thrown at them by the rocket scientists, and before electronic computing became affordable and reliable.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So what they did was, way prior to Neil Armstrong, was they worked at inventing the rockets, the propellant, and they developed the global antenna network that allowed everybody to watch the moon landing.
I'm so glad you mentioned this, DW, because we celebrate.
Oh my God!
We celebrate the astronauts. They're the forward-facing, part of all of this. But they, Neil and Buzz wouldn't have walked on the moon if it weren't for thousands of people who built and maintained the equipment.
New York Times a liar, but they do a good job themselves.
What did they say?
They came out with this article the other day saying that women, it was a man's game, and the men were,
There were women. They're absolutely well. And I don't know if you saw the movie, but if you haven't, you must see it. Called Hidden Figures.
I did not.
Based on a true story about 3 African American women who were computers at NASA, and the troubles and trials they went through, including the fact there wasn't a woman's bathroom in the building they were in. They had to run across the campus just to use the bathroom. So it's a heartwarming and a wonderful movie, finally giving them the credit they deserve. But it's a lot of people, not just women, not just men, but just a lot of people who worked very hard in the shadows to make that happen. I would say, one of the greatest human achievements to step off this planet. And I still get chills when I hear the Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
You know where I was when I saw that?
Where were you?
I was effectively a wine cabin in Alaska.
Were you able to watch it?
A little cabin, and I have this little tiny black and white.
Oh, you were able to watch TV. Good, nice.
Oh, it was so exciting. Yeah.
Oh, I'll never forget it. I was 12, but that's the age where, boy, it leaves an impact on you, doesn't it? I will never forget it.
So anyway, you think this is a success, huh? With that, I have a long way to go.
7,000 listeners from 107. I think's pretty good.
7,000, yeah.
That's pretty good. Everybody should go listen to DW's. What do you call it again?
Headline Minute with DW.
With the best voice in podcasting.
Well, whatever.
DW's Headline Minute. Do you ever? Well, you used to do commercials, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
But they were all regional. Lake Tahoe, Alaska, different places.
Just love your voice. So what were you doing in that cabin in Alaska? Were you fishing?
No, I was running a radio. Not running, but I was at a radio station.
Oh my!
Promotion director.
And I thought I had some small stations under my belt.
Well, I started out in Seward. There was 1,800 people there. That was my first radio job.
See, you got more people listening now than the entire city of Seward.
I told my wife that. I said, "Do you realize I've got more people now than I've ever had?"
Someday, this podcasting thing,
it really is.
This is going to go somewhere.
Oh, people in Russia, people in Turkey.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you again, DW. Thank you.
It's all your fault. You're the one that put me on this.
I want to make DW a star, and I want to make that podcast the #1 podcast in America. How about that?
Oh, dear.
How about that? Millions of downloads every day.
How many?
Millions. The world would be a better place.
Somebody, last night, Coast to Coast, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And the guest host was saying that his wife put up a podcast, and she had 500,000 downloads. What?
Yeah, I doubt it, but okay.
There is such a thing.
I wonder about that. It's hard. That's a big number. That's an awful big number. Headline Minute with DW is on Spotify. You do it on Anchor.fm, so you can hear it there.
Apple.
Yep. You are just Google Headline Minute with DW. You'll find it. DW, a pleasure once again.
Thank you so much.
Take care. It's good. We're gonna have a regular DW segment on this show pretty soon. It's time for DW. Just read the phone book, DW. That's all. I like that part. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Let's talk high tech. We've got about 45 minutes left. I'd love to hear from you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Stephen in San Antone. Hello, Stephen.
How you doing? Thank you for taking my call. Got me out of the heat. I'm mowing the lawn.
Oh, I can't imagine what it must be like in San Antonio right now.
Well. But anyway, if I can first say that Tim has got to be one of the most nicest and patient screeners that I've ever talked. But I've only talked to two of them, and she's one of them. The other one is from a national radio show, and I called, and my mind goes 100 miles an hour when my mouth only goes 25.
Yeah.
So
she's really good at that. Yeah. Thank you. I'll pass that along. I'm sure she's listening. I'll pass it along to her, though. That's great. Thank you.
I have to thank her. But anyway, to my topic, everybody goes on Facebook and they take all those quizzes like who's the what movie star you look.
Yeah, which Harry Potter character you would be, all that. Yeah.
They are all those are profiling you. So
I know. Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
can I just tell you, Facebook, the whole thing is profiling you. That's the point of Facebook. So
someone showed me a T-shirt that had my name on it, spelled with a PH.
Wait a minute.
And it had my character almost down to the T.
What?
Yeah.
Now, you spell Stephen with a V, is that what you're saying? So you know it wasn't you, or that they got...
I spell it with a PH.
Oh, you do? So they even got that part right.
Exactly. So they are profiled, because, my Facebook, on Facebook they have my name, but that's not what my name is on Facebook.
Oh, I see. So even though Facebook doesn't have your real name, the ad for this T-shirt did.
Yeah, and they had me down almost to a T.
Isn't that telling?
Yeah.
So this is, look, we kind of know this. In fact, that Facebook quiz thing came out during the Cambridge Analytica scandal. By the way, Facebook was just fined by the Federal Trade Commission $5 billion for leaking that information to Cambridge Analytica. The company, Cambridge Analytica, was set up to gather information about you for advertising, political advertising particularly, and they were using those quizzes like crazy. And you know what's the worst part of those quizzes? You take that quiz and they're getting information about you, but the way Facebook was set up, they've changed it since, but at the time, a couple of years ago, if you took a quiz, the quiz maker not only got access to your information, but your friend's information. That was not a good setup. But see, this is the problem I have with Facebook. And incidentally, I killed my Facebook account last August. I don't use Facebook, I don't use WhatsApp, and I don't use Instagram because I believe the Facebook company cares not for our privacy. They see us as gold to be mined, and I choose not to be part of the digging. You agree?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, after seeing that T-shirt yesterday, I'm thinking about canning my Facebook account.
Yeah. The problem a lot of people have, and people will tell me this when they say, well, Leo, you're in a privileged position. You don't need Facebook to stay in touch with family and friends, but I do. And I kind of understand that. It's hard to give up Facebook if that's how you know what your kids are doing or your aunt and uncle are doing or your high school classmates, and there's some value there. So I don't know what the answer is. There is nothing. See, I've been trying to think of alternatives. I could think of alternatives for a lot of things, but it's hard to think of an alternative for Facebook.
That's the problem. They are a giant conglomerate.
And getting bigger. 2 billion users.
Yeah.
That's pretty much everybody in the world that's on the internet.
2 billion minus 1, and that's
good for you. Good for you. Yeah, when you see those ads targeted at you like that with your name, your real name, not the name you use on Facebook, that tells you something. They know an awful lot, and that's why when people were all up in arms about this Face app that everybody's been talking, Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, sent out a tweet saying you shouldn't use it. The Democratic National Committee said, "Oh, Democratic candidates, don't use Face app. It'll send your picture, your face information to Russia." I had to wonder, what planet are you living on? Oh, don't use that app. But but Facebook's doing it. Do you have your picture on Facebook? Do you have many pictures on Facebook? Yeah. And I mean, honestly, if you're a candidate for president in 2020, I don't think Russia needs a picture of you. I think they probably know what you look like. I'm sure Vladimir Putin is watching the debates, or watch the debates, and will watch the future debates, and just cackle and howl and laugh with joy because his plan is working. So he doesn't need Face App to know what you look like. On the other hand, I'm thrilled that this word went out, not because Face App's the only bad thing. It's just to remind people to think a little bit about the information you're giving out. Anything you put on the internet, period, is public. Just, that's the truth. If you put it on the internet, you're making it public. My evil plan is working. I have pictures of all of America. Kevin in Missoula, Montana. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, good morning or afternoon.
Good day.
Leo.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Hey, I just want to say something. I'm sure everybody's going to be agreeing and laughing, but every time DW comes on, I get hungry. I get hungry.
Hungry?
Yeah, because I keep on thinking I'm waiting for him to say that magical one sentence.
What's that? Beef. It's what for dinner. Isn't he something? I just love DW. Yeah.
I'm telling you what, if Sam Elliott ever gets laryngitis, call up DW.
The first time DW was on, you may not remember this, but I asked him to say, sometimes you eat the bar and sometimes the bar eats you. And he did it perfect, Sam Elliott.
I remembered that.
What can I do for
Leo,
you? Yeah.
I need you to help us out. Obi-Wan, your only hope. If not you, maybe Scott Wilkinson can help tomorrow or whatever. But here's a myth that's going around. It's on the news, and you hear it around that ear plug Bluetooth headphones. And I don't know about the wire headphones. They did a research, and they came out and went through Apple. I guess Apple had some issues about its causing problems with the skull or the brain.
Let me explain. First of all, the Bluetooth radio is not a problem, nor are cell phone radios. Not a problem. But there was a piece, maybe the news picked it up and distorted it a couple of weeks ago in Medium, about how these Apple AirPods aren't really good for your hearing because they don't fit well, and so as a result, you listen to them too loudly. When we come back, let's talk about some alternatives. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. So let's talk about this. It was an article, some journal or other, about 4 months ago, saying, "Oh my God, Bluetooth headphones can cause cancer." No, they can't. Not in any way that anybody's ever measured. And in fact, the article cited concern from 2015 from a number of scientists about ionizing radiation, not from Bluetooth headphones, but from cell phones. But I hear this all the time. When people first started wearing Bluetooth headsets, not even the AirPods, not even earphones, but just the Bluetooth headsets, everybody was very concerned. And they went to the wired headsets until some bright boy pointed out, actually, a wired headset is actually more dangerous because the radio energy is transmitted directly from the phone up the wire. The Bluetooth radio is so low energy that it's harmless. We would expect if cell phones caused harm to have seen an increase in cancers in the regions near where you hold your cell phone. That is, in fact, not the case. In fact, brain cancers are actually trending down over the last 20 years, not up. So there's really no evidence. There's the potential, sure, high energy radio frequency waves can be damaging to cells, but there's zero evidence that the lower energy that's being sent out by the radios in these devices or your headphones is in any way dangerous. So don't worry about that. However, there is a legitimate danger you should be concerned about, which is that people, when they wear these earbuds, these loose-fitting earbuds, don't hear as well because ambient noise leaks through, and so they tend to turn them up way too loud. And when headphones are very dangerous because they're right there on the ear, especially in-ear headphones. They're right there on the eardrum, and it's easy to overdrive them, to turn them up so loud that they damage your hearing. And that is a real cause for concern, especially with kids. So there are a couple of solutions to this. One is to wear headphones in-ear, if you like the in-ear headphones, because they're smaller and lighter. So wear in-ear headphones that seal better. And a number of companies, Jabra is my favorite, but they make very similar headphones to AirPods, but they seal. They have customizable tips, and you pick a tip that will give you the best seal. That means the bass is better, there's ambient noise reduction is better, and you tend not to turn them up as loud. Also, I have to admire some phone manufacturers, Samsung is one of them, who have warnings when you turn up your volume past a certain point, really about 70%, saying, no, careful, don't turn these up too loud. There are also headphone manufacturers. I'll point to Etymotics, a company called Etymotics, Etymotics. I love the Etymotics. They make in-ear monitors with flanges that seal. Some people are uncomfortable. That makes them cough or something, but I really like these. They seal, so they're really better than even noise-canceling headphones for air travel, things like that. And Etymotics makes a line called Etymotics Kids that are headphones that can't be turned up to the point where they're damaging to children's hearing. If you're going to get headphones for your kids, don't use Apple's earbuds, don't use Apple's AirPods. Get the Etymotics Kids. They're not expensive. I think they're $30 or $40, and they will protect your kids' hearing. You can also wear over-the-ear headphones. That's what I wear as I work all day. I'm wearing AKG headphones. Many radios professionals wear similar headphones. You'll see these in recording studios as well because they're comfortable. They're over the ear. But these, like any headphone, have the issue that you can turn them up too loud. And so that's really the message. And I'm surprised, actually, that Apple hasn't, to my knowledge, they don't have a limiter in their headphone stack that keeps it from going too loud. Maybe they just can't be turned up loud enough at all. I don't think they warn you. Tell me if they do, but I've never seen a warning from Apple about turning my headphones up too loud. I do think the AirPods are overpriced, not very good. They fall out of people's ears. There's one size doesn't fit all. I just don't think I don't have the love for AirPods that others do, but they don't cause cancer. I'll say that right now. There's no evidence they cause cancer. And the antenna, the radiation anyway on those is not in your ear. It's that little thing that's protruding down from your ear. And they're probably better, frankly, than holding. I mean, if you're worried about radiation, they're certainly better than holding the cell phone up to your ear or to a wired headphone. If that's what you're worried about, I don't think you need to. It's ironic that people are recommending, use wired headphones instead of Bluetooth. They're so much safer. No, the radio frequency, the radio energy goes right up. It's like putting an antenna on your head. Right up into your head. Ferris, Northridge, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ferris.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Let me get you off the speaker. 1 second, please.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Ferris.
Okay. First, cell phone, I got LG V20.
Very nice.
And the problem is the reception. I have to do it several times. Go on the, what do you call it, the plane mode and get back to get reception. My carrier is Cricket. And I'm in the market for a new phone, Android. The four Motorola, LG, Samsung.
Unfortunately, when we review phones, and when I say we, I mean the tech reviewers in general, we often don't review antenna quality because it's hard to do without special equipment. And so when you get poor signal, a lot of that may be that Cricket doesn't have a tower near you. You know, that there are places that you just don't get a signal from Cricket. It might not be the cell phone. Although I have to say that, remember the old cell phones? I think, Ferris, you're probably old enough to remember the old cell phones with antennas that came out, right? That stuck up.
I used to use cell phones since '82.
Yeah,
and,
those were much better. I broke them many times, right? And you have to replace it, but that was a much better antenna. Consumers didn't like them, so all the modern cell phones have antennas in the body of the phone. which means it's not as good because it's not coming out of the phone. Your hand attenuates the signal in many cases. In fact, Apple had to scramble over its iPhone 4 because of something they called antenna gate. People would look at the bars on their phone. If they held their phone in a normal fashion, the bars would slowly go 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. To which Steve Jobs replied, well, you're holding it wrong. That was not the correct answer. So Cricket could be the problem. I'm trying to remember who Cricket. They're
AT&T.
They're AT&T. Okay, so they're a reseller of AT&T. So it may be that AT&T's coverage in your area isn't as good as others. Verizon might be better. T-Mobile might be better. Sprint might be better. Although, as far as I know, Sprint's only good in Kansas City. But anyway, that could be one issue. It could also be, though, that, and I don't know because nobody reviews antenna quality. That LG V20 is an excellent phone. It's from every other aspect.
I love it.
Yeah. So my only qualm is I could say, yeah, try the Moto. You might like it better, but I don't know if it has a better antenna. My sense is they're all pretty much terrible because they're in the body, right? And your hand is over it. And so maybe you are holding it wrong. Maybe Steve Jobs was right. We should hold it with a pincer between our thumb and forefinger and hold it high in the air. I don't know. This is a universal problem. We all have it. Dropped calls or just weak signal. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. And let me look and see if there's somebody who does that. It's an expensive bit of gear to measure cell phone antenna effectiveness. And I outside the FCC, I doubt many tech publications have it. But let me see if I can find reviews and see if there's a phone that is better for antenna reception. You might want to just find a company that has a cell site near you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the GizWiz, coming up. Oh, baby, disco time with Dick DeBartolo. I'm going to call you Mad Magazine's maddest writer, at least through the end of the year. I think you'll always be Mad Magazine's
I will always be. Writer. I was christened that by William M. Gaines. They can't take that away from me.
They can't take that away from me.
From me.
What memories you have. In fact, if anybody loves Mad Magazine, first of all, I think we should start some sort of online campaign to save it. I don't know.
Well, several fans are. There's a Twitter. It's Save Mad.
Save Mad. Okay, good. I'll follow that. And then I honestly think you should go out and buy Dick's book, which I'm looking at right now on my bookshelf, Good Days and Mad, which is a history of Mad Magazine, Bill Gaines, that wild publisher, and all the fun times you had. And if you love Mad Magazine, you will love that book. Dick has it on his website, gizwiz.biz.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
well, it's a morale raiser is getting so many posts online. Like there was one from Mark Hamill saying, when they called me Lube Skystalker in Mad, I was so thrilled. Well, I wrote that, so I was thrilled about that. And then someone posted a Hollywood Reporter guest columnist from David Mandel, Veep, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, and all those shows. And he said, Mad Magazine, when I read the Towering Sterno, I didn't have to go see the movie. When I read the Poop Side Down Adventure.
These are all Dick DeBartolo joints.
It was great.
So
it was great fun.
That's the thing is you wrote all those wonderful parodies. You wrote the scripts for them. And, of course, they had different artists illustrate them. But that's for many people. There's just some things we remember. We remember the gatefold, the fold in, I should say. We remember Don Martin and his crazy big shoed characters. Remember Spy versus Spy, and we remember the parodies. And this is Dick DeBartolo, his memoir, Good Days and Mad. I have 2 copies. I have a hardcover as well, autographed by somebody named.
You bought the hardcover.
Somebody named. It looks like Rick Santarbello.
Rick DeBartolo.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much.
These are really treasured. This book is just so great. Everybody should go out and buy it. There you are with Regis and Kathy Lee. And, just so many great memories in here. So, gizwiz.biz, you can get a copy of it. Now, you've got a gadget you said that is almost as old as I am.
Yes. July 1979. Do you know what gadget came out that changed the way people listen to music?
Oh, the Walkman.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I happen to own one of the original.
Oh, look at that! I love that.
Do you have one too?
I bought one. It was hundreds of dollars. I think it was $700 or $800. It was really expensive, and it has a button. Yours has a button on the top. That orange button.
The hotline
button. Tell us what that does.
And, okay, so there's a microphone on the front, and I'm going, whoa! It records too.
Amazing.
And then when you get into the instruction book, you find that there's an A and B headphone jack.
Ooh.
And so the thing is now, if you want to talk to headphone B and not take headphone A off, you hold the Walkman up, you push the hotline button, and you can talk to each other
so crazy.
over the headset.
This was the first portable cassette player. Came with little headphones, and you could hook it on your belt. And man, in 1979, you were living large if you had one of those.
Oh my gosh! I found out about it. I was flying home from a Goodson Todman shooting out in L.A., and this guy had this thing on, and I said, "Can I ask what that is?" And he said, "Before I tell you, listen." And I said, "I cannot believe this."
Amazing.
And he said, "Oh, well, I'm a pilot, and I'm actually deadheading back from Japan, where I bought one." He said, "It's going to be in the States like in 4 or 5 months." I ran out and bought it as soon as it came in. But then they're using it now in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
One of the,
oh, yes.
Right.
Because he slaps the cassette in and puts it on. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is driving the price up. So on eBay, I saw one for $500.
Wow. Almost as much as we paid when we bought it.
Yes. One for $675.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a real treasure.
The
And did you
40th
know,
anniversary.
I never looked on the back. There's a tone control.
Really?
Just high, low. And
you want it high? Do you want it
high
low?
or low?
High or low?
And individual volume controls. Back when cassette tapes may not have been balanced correctly,
right?
You could correct it on your machine.
Right. I don't know why. I'm looking. It went on sale in Japan, was $150, but so it seemed more expensive at the time. In U.S., today's dollars, it's $500. So it was expensive, but it felt like it was really more expensive even than that.
I believe it was $200, and I went to a place called 47th Street Photo.
They're still there, by the way. Although they've been going out of business for 40 years now. They've been having a going out of business sale. One of these days.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
47th Street Photo. Oh, yeah, I remember them very well. Yeah.
And there I got it for $180.
Wow, such a deal. Yeah, for some reason I felt like it was more expensive. But in 1979, $150 was a lot of money.
Yeah, you were right. It's about $700 today.
It feels like it, yeah. You'll find Dick DeBartolo and his memories of the Sony Walkman on his website, gizwiz.biz. He's our gizmo wizard, so we call him the Gizwiz. GIZWIZ.biz. If you click the, what is it? Where can I find the Good Days in Mad book? Is that under the?
In the center column down under you, it goes down and it's Mad.
Is it Mad Garbage?
Mad Garbage. Picture of Alfred Eman. Just look for the picture of Alfred
Dick
E.
is a masterful
Mad
salesman.
Collectibles is what it is.
GIZWIZ.biz. Do you have a few more of them, or are you almost out?
Let's see. I only have 10. No, I have like cases of them. when it was going off sale, the manufacturer said, "We can either trash these or you can buy them for $4 a copy." I said,
"Oh, smart man.
Send me 1,000 copies."
You said someday there'll be a market for these.
Someday there'll be, and I think this day is. The day has finally come.
So that's Mad Collectibles. There's lots of other things in the Mad Collectibles section, by the way. And I think given what's happened to Mad Magazine, now that the evil empire, AT&T, is shutting it down at the end of the year, these are going to become more and more valuable. So
I hope.
Snap them up. And then there's also GizWiz Garbage, but emphasis on the garb, hats, things like that, T-shirts. But, the fun thing, Dick also has something just for you, the What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. If you can identify, I think this is the Iranian Scud missile that they used to. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. It looks like it, but I don't think that is a missile launcher. What is it? If you can identify it.
I did get a letter from the government saying, "Could you take that down?"
We know that's the secret plans. GizWiz.biz, play the game, get a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine while they're still existing. And I think everybody should have a copy. Do you have hardcover or softcover?
Just softcover.
I wonder where I got the hardcover. Probably from you, since you autographed it.
Probably, yeah. Exactly. I think they printed a much smaller number. No, they printed more of the soft covers because it was so much cheaper.
Less cheaper, less expensive. Really great memories. Thank you, Dickie D.
Well, you are a very kind man. I thank you very much.
GizWiz.biz. Thanks to our musical director, Big Pee-wee. Damien, good job today. Thanks to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, for answering the calls. Thanks most of all to you for listening and calling, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Come back again, okay? We'll do this all over again. And congratulations to Mike and Buzz and Neil on the 50th anniversary of the moonwalk later today. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.